New at 11 in a First Coast News exclusive, the show must go on. That is the attitude of a group of volunteers taking local veterans on trips to our nation's capital for a once-in-a-lifetime experience called an honor flight. But with COVID and now the events of September 11th hovering over the day, there have been some hurdles. None that couldn't be cleared, though. Our own Lewis Turner spent today in a very busy Washington, D.C. with some Florida veterans who received some well-deserved praise.
Good evening, everybody. Lou Turner in Washington, D.C. and a very powerful trip on a very poignant anniversary here, the 20th anniversary of the terror attacks of September 11th. But an honor flight, the first for a Florida hub to make an honor flight trip since this pandemic of COVID-19 began. The Space Coast sending some 25 veterans, either from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, all up to the monuments. A very special send-off that all began at 1 a.m. this morning from a senior center in Melbourne, an escort to the Orlando International Airport, and an incredible arrival to Baltimore. Honor Flight takes them to all the various memorials around D.C., those built specifically for them. But it's impossible to ignore the importance of today, considering all the site visits are in the very shadow of the attack on the Pentagon. For Jim Hart with Space Coast Honor Flight, this visit hits especially hard. You see, he was working in the Pentagon on September 11th, a floor above where the plane actually went into the building.
So I got knocked to the ground. I started to get up. All I could see was flames out the window. Yeah, it's actually rewarding. It feels good. You know, I mean, what happened 20 years ago was devastating. It was horrible. But you know, life goes on, and all these veterans, as you well know, they deserve an opportunity to come here and see their memorials.
So a very reverent day here in Washington, D.C. You see the skyscrapers behind me with the various American flags draped over the sides of them, the remembering of the sacrifice on that day 20 years ago and honoring our veterans at the same time. And by the way, it won't be long until the First Coast Jacksonville will be able to see our own hometown heroes on these very awesome trips for Honor Flight in just a couple of weeks. First weekend on October, First Coast Honor Flight will have its inaugural trip to Washington, D.C. We'll have so much more on that. In the meantime, from our nation's capital, I'm Lewis Turner, First Coast News on your side.
What a wonderful honor for those veterans. Thank you, Lou.